Today's going to be all about compost. We all do it slightly different. Usually end up with similar results. So this is a pit that's been going for approximately 2 months. I turned over the top layer from the pit next door into here 2 weeks ago. No, sorry, less than that, about a week ago. And temperature's sitting at 60 degrees Celsius, cooking along nicely. Just put a little topping of old, dryish compost on the top, ready to take the next lot of green. The green will be, if you bear with me, take you over here. Majority of the green is going to come from behind the greenhouse today. There's an embankment there on the left hand side that came from when we dug out the shed base. So that's all grown back in fresh. I've already harvested this out once, put in the compost heaps, but I'm going to get in there again today. Use the hedge trimmer to run up over the bank, take it off, put it into the compost heap, and then cover it with some wood shavings or whatever I can find as we go. So we'll come back to this later and let you see how we're getting on. So the bloody hedge cutter wouldn't start. Took it apart, cleaned it, did everything that's humanly possible, and it still won't start. So the stuff behind the greenhouse is going to have to stay where it is. Decided to start cutting some of the grass out the front. So this is the next layer. I don't put it down too thick. I don't expect it's only a couple inches thick, to be honest. There we go. It's in that deep, see, it's just down in there, about the depth of my fingers, so about 3-4 inches. That'll be plenty enough. And now what I'll do is I'll put on a layer of the wood flakes that we use for the cat tray. Obviously there's no solids in it, but if he's had a pee in it, it don't matter. That'll help the rotting down process. And then I'll put another layer of grass, and then I shall put a layer of sheep's wool. These are fleeces from a mate of mine down the road. They were shorn last year. Nobody wants them. If he tries to sell them, you get 25 pence each from costing £2.50 each sheep to get them sheared, so there's no logic in it. But I've been told it'll compost. The heap certainly is a lot hotter. In the last few days of adding to it, it come up to 60 degrees this morning, and it was still climbing when I took the thermometer out. So we'll just continue and see if we can get them right up to the top today. There we go, finished layer of the wood flake, and I am absolutely positive that the urine in it accelerates the composting process, because the bins that I put it in always seem to come down quicker. But also the fact is that when you're putting the grass on afterwards, don't put it on too thick. If you put it on too thick, it'll go sludgy and horrible. If you put it on thin, that'll soon break down. That'll be cooking like a good one by tomorrow morning. And on we go till we get to the top. And then we seal it down. I usually put insulation foam over the top, and then a lump of wood over the top of that again, keep the rain out, and check it about once a fortnight to see what the moisture levels is like, and if it needs a bit of water, add a bit. If it don't, leave it alone. Time for the next layer. I'm going to put some fleece on now, and again we don't put that on too thick. It is just tease it out fairly thin. This is all experimental. I've never done this before, so we'll see what happens. But judging by the stuff down underneath that have been in there a week or more, it don't half get hot. I don't know whether it's the lanolin in the wool or what it is, but something certainly makes a difference to the temperature. And we'll see how we go with this one. This is quite a good experiment. But mainly what I'm trying to establish is the fact that there's a lot of people on the internet that are stating that they get a ton of compost out of each compost bin made of pallets. Well, that is actually impossible. You physically can't do it. Not unless you're doing about 3 loads every year in the same bay, because you can fill it right to the top of water. So that'd be about 1,000 litres. and that's a ton. If you did it with, say, apples, you'd have about 350 kilos. So I'm judging that once you've filled them up with grass cuttings and wool and bits and pieces, you're probably looking at about 750 kilos. Well, by the time that's dropped down, you're going to end up with about 350 kilos if you're lucky. So if anybody tells you they get a ton out of one of these bins, I should ask them what they've been drinking. There we go. Bin's filled right at the top now, and I've finished off with a layer of grass and then a layer of the fleece to keep the warmth in. But I'm still going to put my sheets of foam on the top. I do find that this really helps to keep the moisture and the heat in the bed. And to be fair, that'll sweat like hell in there. And that's it, all in all. Good project today. Tomorrow's another one. Remember, you can't eat the grass.